International climate change negotiators have finally put aside their differences, producing a 156-page rule book for implementing the Paris Agreement. The new Katowice agreement aims to deliver the Paris goals of limiting global temperature rises to well below 2 degrees Celsius. It also paves the way for countries to set tougher targets for cutting greenhouse gases and sets transparency rules for emission disclosures. MAAGEKETLA MOHLABE attended the talks in the southern city of Poland.
The round of tough climate talks concluded. Negotiators forced to ban the midnight candle after a 2-week impasse. And finally, a global climate deal. Implementation guidelines dominate the rule book.
These new guidelines, the NDCs would look much better, and they will be quantifiable, which is very important. We need to know who is doing what, where do we stand collectively, and so forth.
But rules on cutting carbon remain contentious.
Transferring 4 gigatons of carbon into the Paris Agreement world is completely unacceptable to South Africa, is completely unacceptable to many other countries that are engaged in that discussion on Article 6.
And critics say the rule book is not ambitious enough to prevent the effects of global warming.
I think transformation is the key word here. We saw in the IPCC 1.5 report that transformation is required if we're going to have to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement, and I think government policy needs to follow that transformative agenda.
The rules will kick in 2020, with the first report expected 4 years later. Young voices will remain on the front line in the fight for a zero-carbon future.
This process is only trying to provide a small additional motivation, but in any case, where we can judge whether we are on the right track or not is domestically back home.
Observers have suggested that global governance is still poor, and that it's now up to governments to take action and rely less on fossil fuels by working towards an inclusive, resilient economy to prevent a disaster. Disputed matters have been deferred, with Chile expected to preside over COP24. MAAGEKETLA MOHLABE, SABC News, Katowice, Poland.